A lot of people ask me, what are neopronouns? Simply put, neopronouns are gender-neutral pronouns, meaning those beyond he, him, his, and she, her, hers. Well, let's break it down further with my friend Devin Norell.
Pronouns are terms that we use to refer to someone in the third person. In lieu of someone's name, we might say, I know him, or she is my friend.
For many trans people, we update our personal pronouns when we come out, so that our gender identities can be affirmed. We might use gender-neutral pronouns that honor our genders beyond the binary.
These are neopronouns, but they're nothing new. There's a long documented history of neopronouns being proposed, used, and even recognized by dictionaries over the last few centuries. But even if they were new, that shouldn't keep us from respecting them.
Language is, and it has always been, changing and evolving. And that's something to celebrate, not fear or resist. So what are some examples of neopronouns, and how do we use them in a sentence?
My pronouns are Z, Zim, Ziz.
What?
It's like he, him, his, except use a Z instead of an H. So when you refer to me, you say, I know Devin Norell. Z is my friend. I went to school with Zim. Ziz's favorite color is yellow.
And my pronouns are they, them, theirs. So when you refer to me, you might say, I know Addison. They are my friend. I went to school with them. Their favorite color is green.
And there are so many neopronouns sets that people might use. If you're unsure how to use someone's neopronouns, it is okay to ask them after someone discloses.
You guys look like... What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Now, what I don't understand about those two fellas we just heard from in the first clip is that if they are going for the whole feminine look with the women's clothing and makeup and such, why keep the beards? Anyway, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So I have a very quick and very crazy Clown World update for you guys today, and as usual, we have, well, very little time to waste. So let's get into it. Now, if you place your attention on the screen for a moment. So this hairy-chested individual is Lacey. Now, Lacey is a biological man that identifies as a trans woman and calls himself a transbian or trans-lesbian. Now, Lacey prefers she, her pronouns as well as ladies' restrooms and locker rooms. Wait, what?
All right, that's creepy.
Now, since this is the last day of Black History Month, we're going to keep it moving with this fellow who wrote a song in remembrance of St. George Floyd. Roll it.
George Floyd went out walking while black one day, as he had done many times before. But the police came and forced George Floyd to the ground, said you passed a phony $20 bill. Though handcuffed face down, George Floyd was still black, so they placed the knee of justice on his neck. In stifled screams of terror, George said, I can't breathe, as the onlookers pleaded his case. I can't breathe, George Floyd did say, I just want to breathe, he begged. Not asking for liberty, happiness, or love, George Floyd just wanted to breathe.
Your song? It's awful. I hate it.
All right, let's stick with the theme of Black History Month for a moment since it is just about over. Now, I thought this was a parody skit when I first saw it, but I assure you, this is 100% real. This is Kyra J., the Vice President and Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at Delta Airlines. Roll it.
And so we want a winning workforce. And we know a winning workforce means being able to attract the best and the brightest talent from everywhere. Are we missing out on some great thinking, some great people, some great new pathways to discovering brilliance that may not come the traditional path of a college degree? A premium was placed on education at a time when education wasn't actually provided for all. People without degrees, they often don't have access to great career paths or increased earning over time. And that's what Delta is here to change. We're really proud that we've eliminated the required college degree in more than 90% of our jobs. It's plain and simple. Equity is the motive.
You gotta be f***ing kidding me.
Equity is the motive? Equity is the motive? I thought the motive was getting people to their destinations on time and keeping that giant metal tube from falling out of the sky. Anyway, next up we have Sunny hosting of The View on some talk show or podcast or something, talking about what else? DEI or diversity, equity, and inclusion. Roll it.
When I hear someone say, I'm against diversity, equity, and inclusion, it gives me great pause because it makes me feel that you don't want diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the Republican Party and the conservatives have done a great job of bastardizing that term. And I think it needs to be retaken and explained.
Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the up.
Now, I'm sure many of you have probably heard by now that President Trump is trying to get all the trans people out of the military. And, well, this young lady has a problem with it. Roll it.
Pentagon just announced that they would be kicking trans service members out of the military, and we need to have a really grim conversation, but please stick with me to the very end. If the Trump administration can successfully ban trans people from the military, they're going to do their very best to put their grubby little hands on every aspect of the public sector and ban trans people from the public entirely. That means banning trans people from federal government work, state government work, municipal jobs, U.S. Postal Service jobs, Park Service jobs, public school jobs. Y'all know I'm quick to identify a slippery slope, but this one means taking us back 100 years at least in civil rights, because if they can successfully ban trans people from the public sector, then they will try to do it with all members of the LGBTQIA community. And then when they can do that, then it's women.
That has honestly got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
And next up, we have this lady who thinks President Trump will be taking wheelchairs away from disabled people. And basically, if you voted for Donald Trump, you're the one taking wheelchairs away from disabled people. Roll it.
I just want to say to all the MAGA people, all the Christians out there, that thanks to you voting for this man the first time and ever given him a platform, you are complicit in the death of all the people that are going to die because of his taking away Medicaid, all the elderly that will be kicked out of nursing homes, all the disabled that will lose their medicine and their health care and their wheelchairs or their breathing apparatuses. You murdered these people. So live with it.
But let me tell you something, folks. You can't fix stupid.
All right, next up we have this fellow who says that Donald Trump, Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, and RFK Jr. are all broken men. And let me remind you guys, this fellow calls himself the angry liberal. Roll it.
Donald Trump, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., and J.D. Vance are broken men. And broken men can only break things. It is incumbent upon each and every one of us in our life to look in the mirror and ask the question, am I and where am I broken? And if we find some place, then we must fix or heal it. We cannot spend our lives blaming the world for what broke us. We take responsibility. If we are broken, our innocence fractured, we no longer see the world as a good place. We don't see life as a good thing. We don't see other people as good. Look at these men and the hate and anger and blame they spread, cutting down everything. Why? Because that is how they see the world, because they are broken. Broken men can only break things. What broke these men? Being unloved by their fathers and failing to live up to their real or imagined expectation of what would earn that love. Donald Trump, famously unloved by his father, fails his whole life at business trying to prove his worth. Elon Musk, famously unloved by his father, tries to become the richest man in the world to get that love. His father now explicitly refuses to offer him affection or respect. J.D. Vance, abandoned as a toddler by his father, his mom remarries. He changes his name, changes his name again, changes his name again. So desperate for attachment to some paternal love or lineage. RFK Jr., his dad, of course, famously murdered in public, as was his uncle. The weight of the family name upon him, and he fails miserably to live up to it at all, becoming a drug addict, cheating on his wife so much she kills herself. These are broken men, desperate to live up to something and failing spectacularly.
What the hell is his problem?
Guys, real quick, we don't have any sponsors or honorable mentions for today's video. If you'd like to sponsor the next video to help support the channel, there is a PayPal link in the description box below, and I will say your full name as a sponsor of said video unless stated otherwise by you. But I think we've all seen enough of Al Weezy for one day. Get this off the screen, please. Oof.
I can't stop eating.
All right, next up we have trans activist Lily Tino, who is a biological man that identifies as a trans woman, calls himself a lesbian, but that's neither here nor there. Lily Tino pulled a Dylan Mulvaney and went and got FFS, or facial feminization surgery. Roll it.
Days since my FFS. About 70% of the swelling is gone, but it'll take another year or two for the rest of it to go down. So let me show you around my new face. For reference, here's what I looked like before. First up is the hairline. You can see that it has been moved forward. The line is pretty pronounced right now, but it will fade over time. You might also be wondering about this little dent right here. That is internal stitching, and it will go away in a few weeks. Now, my nose is quite swollen, and that will go down over time, but take a look. You can see it's way more of a ski slope now. Also, my brow bone is way less pronounced. My surgeon said that the brow would probably be the thing that made the most difference in the beginning to feminize my face, and I tend to agree with them. Now, my lips haven't changed, but they went through my lower mouth to get to my jaw. It's hard to see the result here right now because there is a lot of swelling, but over time, you'll see that it is much softer. And last but not least, the Adam's apple is gone. I want to give a huge shout out to my mom who took care of me as I recovered. My mom actually extended her trip several times to take care of me because I got COVID in the hospital. That made recovery a whole lot harder, but luckily I had a wonderful support network of friends as well that helped me walk my dog and brought food and did all these wonderful things. And I'm super excited for y'all to come on my healing journey as my face settles in over the next few years.
Is he out of his f***ing mind?
So every now and again here on the channel, we see these extreme body modifications, or body mods, as the cool kids say, as far as tattoos and piercings and such. And I came across this photo and thought to myself, yeah, that's pretty extreme.
Oh, that's so disgusting. Oh my God.
All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up with this clip from CNN where Scott Jennings dismantles the arguments from these liberal hacks perfectly. Now, this clip is kind of long. It's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, but it's definitely worth the watch. Anyway, things are clearly getting very crazy out there, guys, so please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time. Love you guys. Peace. Roll it.
Can we be real for a moment that Doge is not about cutting money, right? It's not about spending. It's about shrinking government so that it'll be too small to stop Trump with whatever else is in this plan.
Why would the government stop Trump? Isn't he the head of the government? You're saying the government would be too small to stop Trump. If Trump's the president, why would the government, the bureaucracy, be actively trying to stop him?
Because he is shredding the Constitution and creating an authoritarian dictatorship. That's why.
And no matter who is in office, I'm going to hold them accountable. But more importantly, I'm going to make sure the government is working for the American people.
Both of you all made an interesting point, which is that your view is that Trump is shredding the Constitution. I'd like to hear more about that. But that it seems to me that you all both believe that the unelected part of our government, the bureaucracy, has a responsibility to resist the political leadership. Is that your view?
That's not actually
That's
what
not
we
at all
said. We
what I
said they
said.
are
Yeah, it is.
upholding the Constitution, the principles of the Constitution, and at times
How
that we
is
have
Trump
seen.
shredding the Constitution?
My God, he's like.
I mean, seriously,
He
do we
doesn't
have to
believe in
give
the
you a
balance of
civics
power,
lesson
Scott.
that we have?
I don't know,
we put all power in the executive
How is
branch.
holding the
The
government-
legislative branch, the FBI. Now we're in control of the military. We're silencing media.
Commander-in-Chief,
This is
head of
what
the
you
military.
do
The Supreme
in a
Court of power.
dictatorship.
Are
This
you
is not.
suggesting that the president is not the commander-in-chief of the military?
I'm suggesting that the president is going to put in charge somebody who is going to contravene the Constitution. And at some near point, this conversation will look very silly for you because it will be obvious. And right now, you're gaslighting.
He's going to
but when we get to the actual
He's
rubber
gonna
of the
put-
road of this,
I'm sorry.
it will be clear.
I'm interested in this conversation. He's going to put someone in charge who will contravene the Constitution. Like who? What do you mean by that? The president is in charge of the military, is he not? You said he's going to put someone in charge of the military?
The president is in charge of the military. That is how it works.
He was elected president. We, according to the Constitution, vest all executive authority in a president. And the concept that the military should be an independent agency or that the bureaucracy should resist the political leadership of this government is extraordinarily dangerous.
That's what we said. That's a straw
That's not
man.
what we
It's
said. That's
ridiculous.
literally not what we said.
I'm just repeating back to you your own
I
words.
didn't.
Where do you get these fucking idiots, huh? Where do you get them? 2, 10, 12, 15. Oops, stepping on them. It's black. Anyway,